Peace. What's going on, everyone? It's about close to 10 a.m. over here in Vegas, uh, which means in three of the time zones, it's the morning time. Well, actually, in two of them. So happy risings and good afternoon. Happy Wednesday to everybody. I think it's Wednesday. It's Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the days on. I don't really pay too much attention to the days anymore, to be honest. I just focus a lot more on the present. So today, I'm here to kind of talk about. If you hear any clicking, I got hematite, tourmaline, magnetic balls. Takes away negative energy, pulls negative energy, transmutes it for you. I carry it around just about everywhere I go, or in moments of solitude while I self-reflect. And that's a bit about why I'm here. I'm gonna focus on or work a little bit more on looking at the camera. Really don't like to. It's not that I'm uncomfortable or anything. It's just I like letting my eyes take me everywhere that I'm looking. As far as like the mind's eye, I'm able to visualize things. So for those of you who don't know, now you know. But today's topic that I woke up with on my mind is knowing peace and the importance of peace. So peace has been something that's. Let me turn the music down a little bit. I got like Miles Davis on my jazz playlist on Amazon. For me, peace has always been in alignment with balance. Balance is my favorite word, followed by peace. With balance, I never look at balance as being everything 50-50 or straight down the middle. I look at it in like an equitable way. So with balance, work-life flow, like I talked about in one of my previous videos, peace is along the same way. I'm not a person that's always peaceful. There's times where I have negative energy that festers in me, and it's necessary. There's yin and yang. Just like with charging a battery, you have to have positive aligned with negative, or you'll have like a double fault charge. So it's not about avoiding negative energy or avoiding any type of energy. I look at it in a way of surrendering to it. A saying that I have is consciousness starts with acknowledgement. And in order to be free, you must first surrender. So those are kind of like two philosophies I live by. I don't really carry anybody else's philosophies or, live my life through the scope of what somebody else used to discover their life and their journey or rediscover themselves. So I'll run through some of the things I live by that I tell people. It's very important to be here to hear. So, in that aspect, it's important to be there for somebody to actually hear them. Oftentimes, we think that being there for somebody includes throwing our opinions or, disagreeing. Sometimes you just gotta shut the fuck up and just listen. People need that more than, others' opinions because we already have enough thoughts going on in our head, unless we ask for it. Or unless we've built that rapport to the point where, you see me slipping and you're like, oh, well, maybe this. However, that's not always the case. My dog keeps bumping the tripod. He gets jealous whenever I'm not giving him attention. That's neither here nor there. The other one is you can't spell heart or earth without art. So anytime there's something going on in life, there's art involved in it one way or another. But the way that we avoid art or our inner child and our creative self is by when we go through life situations, we don't do anything. We don't do anything creative or to help us, refine or recenter ourselves. Another one, that's the second one. Another one is, that's the fourth one if I combine the other two. But another one is the Odyssey is the destination. It's tattooed on my arm, just like balance. But the reason the Odyssey is the destination is one of my favorite is for the simple fact that your destination is where you're at. the journey is the destination, so to say. I just wanted my own twist to it. So sometimes we focus so much on where we're trying to get to that we forget where we're at. And oftentimes that takes away your appreciation for the moment that you're in. It takes away the appreciation of, what you're experiencing, because not everybody lives the same life as you, and not everybody is as fortunate as you are. But so many times, or oftentimes, we think about where we're supposed to be. You're supposed to be exactly where you're at. Otherwise, you would be in another place. But it comes from, mind attacks, which I'll get into a little later. Let me take a sip of water. So this morning, with this early rising, I don't like saying morning for those who do and don't know. And those who know that still tell me good morning. It's whatever. But yeah, so this morning, actually the last day and a half, especially the last few days, I've just been thinking a lot about peace and how much that means to me, how important it is, and how peace affects us in many aspects, or the lack of peace so to say. So things like, you don't always have to have peace inside of you, or, you don't shun yourself or chastise yourself if you don't feel peaceful in that moment. But what you can control is your focus or your direction towards peace. A lot of times, our minds and our spirits are filled with chaos that either have to do with things outside of ourselves, outside of our home, outside of, the true essence of life, and we allow that to control and dictate how we move and how we feel. And then other times we just don't care about peace because we think it's something so much more than what it is. Peace is one of the most simplistic things when it regards just oneself. Yeah, we have times fighting, social justice and everything, or different countries, or our own government and stuff. But that's, peace that is involving other people. It's like trying to make plans with multiple people. It's more complex to make plans with many than it is to just make plans with yourself. And that's the same way I see peace most of the time. You can't rely on everybody to be peaceful, but what you can control is how peaceful you are yourself. That's what you can control, and what you allow and don't allow to affect you. But with that part, it's a little bit more complex because that's where the details come into play. How peaceful your home is, how peaceful the music is that you listen to, the way you speak to people, the type of people that you include in your circle. So there may be times where you've reflected on your friends or what kind of things you've been doing, and you walk away from it not feeling so peaceful, or you feel like a negative energy inside of you. Oftentimes it comes with the uncomfortable truth that we have to, I don't know what that was, that we, just one second. Move, dude. Come here, because you want attention. Come here, you want attention. Anyways, oftentimes we've had to reflect on our friends or the relationships that we have and see that it's not bringing us any peace. But at the same time, how much focus of peace do we have going into that situation? We expect people to bring us something, or we expect an entity to bring us something, but we don't approach it in a peaceful, delicate manner. So like when I was in the military, it was a chaotic environment. Those who've been in the military, or a high pace, a high speed environment where it's just constantly stressful, you have very little control over that. Let me see what it said. You have very little control over that. So being in the military, not knowing if we're going to go to war, if we're going to get sent to another country, the psychological conditioning that they put us through, and this is like 2012, 2011, where you can't have phones. The drill sergeants or whoever could still put their hands on you. But in that time, you still have to find a way to find peace and balance. You still have to find a way to clear your mind one way or another. So, you know, once I got to Germany, it was just real, it was different. It wasn't as chaotic here as it is in the States. At least in the form where you can obviously see it. Instead of these subtle, you know, perplexities. So when it came down to it, you know, it'd be times where I just go to my barracks room, and that was like my sanctuary, my safe haven. Um, I'd be able to kick back and relax there, maybe like a couple of hours before somebody came banging on my door or yelling or, you know, cussing me out for whatever reason. But I still had a place to go to for peace. You know, I couldn't mentally always go there because I had to focus on the workflow. I had to focus on the job. I couldn't daze off or anything or become aloof like I like to do in this life. I like to just zone out and just go to my safe haven. Um, Oftentimes people don't think of a safe haven, so they just live in the chaos that's around them or the chaos that's in the outside world. Their mind moves as much as this dude on my lap is moving for no reason. Relax, man. So he likes belly rubs. So y'all just chilling with me and Mello today, I guess. But yeah. So growing up, I didn't necessarily know about peace per se. I just knew that I had a lot of anger inside of me. I was mad about a lot. You know, stuff happened with my family and myself that I had to persevere through. That we all had to persevere through. You know, but that's neither here nor there. So having art was always like my guiding light, like I mentioned in the other video, and what kind of helped me keep peace of mind. Doing something that is created from cultivation within. So I often recommend to people if you're not going to therapy, you can be your own therapist. And the part of you that can be your own therapist is your inner child. Going back to who you were as a child, you know, if you like hopscotch, double dutch, easy bake oven cooking, you know, translate that into actually cooking or baking new recipes or whatever. If you like the hopscotch or double dutch, just go jump rope or go in the park, go get some rollerblades or something. So finding ways to come at peace or to ease your mind is very critical, in my opinion and my belief, in order to combat the chaos that naturally goes on in many people's minds. Oftentimes, you know, we allow the chaos that's outside of our front door, outside of our body and our life, to dictate how we move in our life, how we bounce back, and also how we treat people in our relationships. So it's important to be able to find peace in those things. Like for me, I don't ask for nothing. I've literally had everything I've ever wanted, and not to say that it was given to me. I've worked for it, you know, and I've been fortunate. My ancestors have been there every step of the way, and nothing that I've wanted has ever been like a material substance. Everything's always been within, you know, trying to figure out how to get to a better place in my life, but also to realize, like, pretty much how to realize that the place in my life is where I need to be because that's where I'm at. There's no better place than where I'm at now because I'm in the present moment. I exist, I'm alive, I'm able to breathe, I have good health, you know. Those in my family that are still alive or in good health. So there's really nothing that I could want more that wouldn't be like, you know, anything else that I would want is from the ego or unless it's for the betterment of other people or like people as a whole. All right, we've cuddled enough. Now go take your little Mark butt down. Bye bye. Bye bye. Hold on real quick. I'm gonna throw something so you can go chase it. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Still learning how to play fetch with him. He's not the best. He's like Shaq shooting a free throw. Inconsistent. No, you have to bring the toy back. You don't get it and then drop it. You go bring it back. Anyways, so I wrote a couple of things down that I kind of wanted to like share. There's some stuff that I wrote, um, just like little statements. Peace is always the destination. Not to just be at peace, but to be in peace. You know, it's like how I say being here to here. in order to hear, you have to be here. You have to be present, you know? And you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You know, being at peace takes a certain vulnerability. It's like being at the edge of the bridge or trust fall. You have to trust yourself, but you also have to trust the process of life. That's two. Those are two things that have got me closer to being at peace. Especially getting out the military in 2016, life was really chaotic for me. Moving back to the states, and I had been away for about 4.5 years, having spinal surgery, having a couple of traumatic events happen to me, a couple of near-death experiences, not even just in the military, but before the military. I come clean. There was something I never really told anybody, but I was sleeping in my friend's garage. I dropped out of college when I was 19. Right before I got into the military, I had got like a little drinking problem. I had lost my grandfather the year before. And only a few people know this because I never told anybody that I left college and came back to my hometown. So I stayed ducked off. I picked up like a little night shift job so nobody would ever see me. And I was sleeping on trash bags in my clothes, oftentimes in my homeboy's garage, because I felt not necessarily just ashamed, but I felt hurt that in a way that people had to see me that way. It was one of my best friends and stuff, and his sister. I'm forever thankful for them and their family too. But just going through those times, I would sleep in the garage with my clothes. Sometimes I sleep on the couch, but I just didn't want them to wake up and have to see me sitting on their couch or whatever. Something I've really never shared, especially through a platform like social media. I'm a very private and protected type of person, but I do believe in sharing a couple things about myself here and there to help people that may be going through similar times or have felt ashamed for some of the things they've been through, but you got to go through it to grow through it. And so that led me to joining the military. I had a conversation with somebody that was real close to me, and I turned to them like for to confide and stuff, and being turned away and kind of like rejected just for some kind of love or whatever, that was like what fueled me to just, I'm an Aries, so that just fueled me to go ahead and just get up, say F it, not F the world, but F the circumstances that I created for myself. But also, I never questioned why I went through it. I never questioned, God. I'm not like a religious person. I'm spiritual, and oftentimes people's ignorance leads them to believe that because you don't follow mainstream religion that you don't believe in God. I've had people ask if I'm an atheist, and I'm like, so because I don't wear like a cross or certain things, that it just automatically ties to evil. But that's neither here nor there. So that was just like the fuel, like I guess like the gas or the match that hit the fire that's inside of me to just persevere. And also, I thought of what my grandfather would say if he if he seen what I was doing. I wasn't creating at the time. I had started writing poetry, just like a real dark period. And sometimes it takes us going through a dark period to realize that anything around us that shines is light. So I had to find the light within myself, and that period helped me through everything that I've gone through up to this point that I've conquered, and also everything I had to conquer while in the military. Another thing I put down is your own personal chaos is more destructive than peace being contagious. And I'll say that again. Your own personal chaos is more destructive than being at peace is contagious. So, destructive chaos is more powerful than peace being contagious. So, anytime you have destructive thoughts, mind attacks, and even if you're like bringing that around people, that spreads and permeates faster than it is being at peace. So you have to work harder to be at peace. It's too easy to be negative. It's too easy to have negative thoughts, but also it takes effort to give up and allow that stuff to happen. So it's like a battle, yin and yang. You choose at the end of the day which one you want to side with. Sometimes you have to side with the negativity just for the simple fact that it helps put things into perspective. But yeah, there's been times where, I've been at peace or I've been calm, trying to communicate with people, and for whatever reason, due to life circumstance and whatever's going on in their mind at the time, they're chaotic, or I wouldn't say chaotic necessarily as if there's something mentally wrong with anybody. It's just more so that current feeling that they have is so much, they give so much more strength to that than somebody around who's being peaceful. So I can say, hey, nah, I understand, or I understand, just take a deep breath. But if I take a deep breath, what's that going to do? So there's trying to meet peace and use that to help with chaos. But chaos is like a constant rebuttal, you know? And oftentimes people always have something to say back. It's like they just can't, there's that part in them that doesn't register to listen. There's that higher conscience, that higher voice that we have, oftentimes we don't give into that. We give into the vices. We give into, the addictions or whatever. Like if you have an alcohol problem and you're conscious of it, but for some reason you want that drink, sometimes we've shielded our higher voice, our higher conscience so far away from the essence of now in our presence that we don't even hear that voice tell us not to take that drink. So that's a little bit about that, and I'll start doing videos to speak on each statement at some point in the future. Another one is really subtle, but peace doesn't cause pain. Internal peace does not cause pain. I had a cancer scare. I'll come clean. I had a cancer scare from like October up until recent months, where just stuff was going on, and at the time I just felt chaos inside of me. Shout out to my mother, because we had a conversation one time and she kind of confirmed what I was naturally thinking. My instant thought was that it was a spiritual lesson. Something spiritual was going on that I needed to come to terms with. I needed to surrender to and also listen and hear in order to better understand what was going on. And I had a dream. I'm really into numerology, into numbers, the messages that I have from my dreams. And I instantly just realized that I need to regain the peace that I kind of veered away from. And like I said, I'm not always peaceful. My peace, my vibration isn't always at the apex. And for me, I'm okay with that. I'm thankful that I'm able to acknowledge that, but I'm always focused on peace, Even when you have a good day, if you intended to have even when you don't have a good day, if you woke up with the intention of having a good day, it's okay. But if you wake up thinking, oh, I'm going to have a shitty day, and then you have a bad day, that's on you. Like that starts with your mind. So continuing to try and persevere through everything, I got back into the things, the fundamentals and the foundation that I had built for myself since I got out of the military, regathering the things that I knew was important for me to continue to grow and to be a better service to those that I come into contact with, those who come in contact with my energy, and also the symbolic message I want to leave behind the day that I transition from this physical form. So peace is not painful. Peace is healing, and it starts with your mind, the way you breathe. There's some breathing exercises and breathwork meditation I've done, and I've done some research on other forms of breathing and how our breath affects the way our minds flow. So naturally, you breathe through the nose, out the mouth. Little things like 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. I wish you could teach dogs that, because this dude's chaotic right now. Hey, go take this. Go. Nah, you want to chill. But yeah, so if when people have anxiety attacks, if you've ever been around somebody that's had an anxiety attack or you experienced it yourself, you've noticed that your breathing has been more so sporadic. So there's ways to kind of combat that. There's three different breathing methods. One is to kind of recenter your breathing and balance it. So it's like 4 seconds in through the nose, 8 seconds out the mouth. So if your heart is beating really fast, you continue the regular intake that you're supposed to have, and then you exhale a little bit longer. There's one for if you're trying to get into like an event, like a sporting event, or you need to have hyper focused, or you're trying to work out. It's called the coffee pot. It was on a TED talk, and I confirmed it with another person. But it's called the coffee pot, and you just exhale at the nose several times, and that's what's supposed to get your adrenaline pumping. Just straight exhales like. And then there's the regular pattern of 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, and we're not naturally gonna breathe like that just walking down the street, but just when you're sitting down, just relax. I've suffered from anxiety, PTSD, and all of that. And I can honestly say that breathing, breath work, I do like mental paletting. So that's something I kind of created myself that's helped me. And with that, I'll just like, in my mind, even when my eyes are open, I would imagine that there's a white canvas or some kind of wall around. And I would just start painting, putting different splashes of colors on there. Purples, violets. And there's even ways that you can make up your own color. I gotta pick up the tripod to let Lil do it out. But you could even make up your own colors. The thing is, there's no rule. There's no rules to how to heal. The rules, they're put in place to kind of guide us and stuff, just like with the laws and everything. Because otherwise, the world would be crazy. There would be madness, or you would have to be on the edge because you don't know how crazy something could potentially be. So, just going into a mind mentally where there's no limit, there's no cap. You can do anything that you want to do. So that's another form of, meditation or healing that I've done to help myself find better peace within myself. That's already there. Like, peace is in everybody, but it's just like in the ocean. When you look in the ocean, there's treasure down there. Sometimes you got to just go a little bit further, to get certain things than, other people. But that's okay. It's your life and not anybody else's life, And one thing I kind of spoke on it, we often let things that we cannot control determine our level of peace. Now, I don't want to focus too much on the pandemic, because I've talked about that in other videos, and I'll talk about that more in videos moving forward. But going back to where I said consciousness starts with acknowledgement. Once you acknowledge the situation is bad, or you acknowledge something is what it is at that given time, there's nothing else you can really do about it. Like, oftentimes, like if you're, let's say you're in Idaho and you're thinking about something that's in Nebraska, what is you thinking about it while you're in Idaho going to do for whatever's in Nebraska? All you're going to do is just drive yourself crazy, thinking about more scenarios of how to fix something that you cannot fix at that moment, but naturally the mind just wants to have that. So sometimes we're built or conditioned in a way to want chaos, whether it's from how we were raised, family members constantly clashing, or the music we listen to where it's nothing but gunshots, us drinking liquor, which is called spirits, and oftentimes that spirit takes over for what's really going on inside of us. The food that we eat, the amount of sleep that we do or don't get, not getting any sunlight, movies and TV shows that we watch, like those kind of things influence us in ways to naturally just want chaos. Like if I walk into somebody's house and I just hear a whole bunch of gun music or trap music or whatever, for one, my vibration is going to start to protect itself. But then anything that I observe from that point moving forward is going to make a little bit more sense. If the music is all crazy, or even if the crib's dirty, if the crib is dirty and then I start to see that their mind is running rampant, or you know they're just eagerly hyper, some things like that, I'm gonna look and be like, oh, it kind of makes sense. And people have kids too, so I'm at the age now where it's common for somebody to have a child that's at least a couple years old. If that kid is running around crazy and like not listening or taking any direction, and then I look at the house and the house is dirty, or I look at the refrigerator, I'm in the kitchen and there's nothing but dishes in there, or if there's a certain odor, it all starts to make sense, which is going to go into a part that I really wanted to talk about, which is the importance of, you know, peace being the aesthetic and the main subject in a house. The house doesn't have to be all tidy, 10 out of 10 clean or whatever, but if you're able to see that there's effort there, that also reflects a person's effort in finding peace, or at least being calm or coming to a better understanding of growth and who they are. So I'll go on to the next one. One of the things that I put, lack of peace often leads to lack of production and then to mind attacks. So I briefly spoke about mind attacks, and I'll go a little bit into it before I get on to the next point. But with mind attacks, we've all experienced them. I know I've experienced my fair share, and I still do. Like, it's supposed to happen. Like, when you're at peace or when you're seeking peace, things are supposed to be thrown your way to kind of disrupt that. So a mind attack is pretty much where you're sitting there, you're calm, and especially during the little cancer scare that I had, you would sit there and relax, thinking about flowers, Teletubbies or whatever weird shit that we all naturally think about, and then boom, out of nowhere, just crazy thoughts come to mind. You start thinking about, past traumas or the potential of something that's not even in your presence to just go wrong. And that's like living inside the pain body. The pain body is that part of trauma or that little trigger that's always ready to be pulled, like a light switch. As soon as it's pulled, sporadic chaos is going all the way around and stuff. So when you're not seeking peace, it's going to hold back your level of productivity, because just because you occupy or distract yourself, and that's natural for people to do, is when we're going through things, we try to distract ourselves by doing other things. All that does is give that chaos or whatever's going on more power, because you're not surrendering to whatever's going on. You're not observing. You're not taking whatever you're dealing with head on. And I know we naturally have that fear of either being inadequate, failure, we don't think that we're strong enough or that we're capable enough. Like, in one way or another, I believe that most of us, more than none, have done that in their lifetime, whether it's an audition, or no, I don't look pretty enough, or I don't look nice enough, or especially with social media, you get a haircut, you don't like your haircut, and instead of appreciating the fact that you were able to go get a haircut, you're so worried about what looks wrong or the fear that somebody may make fun of you or whatever. So naturally, we do things that hold us back from how far we can go. And with that part, mind attacks will just come out of nowhere. Doubts, insecurities, all of that. And it's natural, it's very imperative that when we have those mind attacks, we approach it not necessarily just ready to fight it, but just observe. Because at the end of the day, you are not your mind. Our mind does not rule who we are. It's just a part of us. Like, my last name is Okanemi. I explained that recently. And, Okan means conscience. Emi means spirit and I. Those two together mean my soul. Your conscience is not your mind. We often think that because we feel that we're mentally sharp, we're conscious. Those two, they're kind of close, but it's not the same exact thing because consciousness is energy. Your mind doesn't belong to you. We cultivate it from here and there and stuff, but when we do things that we're destined to do, we're not it's not based off of the way the mind is, or the mind does have to be taken care of and mentally together, but consciousness leads us, to this life, the next life, rebirth and everything. Consciousness breeds, energy and life. So the next one is the more you seek to control, the less likely you'll experience peace. And this goes back to trying to control everything. If you try to control everything, like let's say you try to control exactly how the organized group setting is, the more you try to control, the more likely you're going to have a bad experience because you want everything to be A, B, C, and D. And as soon as the possibility of E comes in, everything's just A, B, and C are just blown up entirely. So you're like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. The moment one of those things aren't done, everything else is just thrown out the way. So we worry so much about 10% not being correct that we throw away the rest of the 90%. And that's backwards. When you're prepared, you don't have to get ready and those type of things. But when it comes towards peace, what do you have to be prepared for? What do you have to control? And these are questions I ask myself because there's times where I'm like, nah, it needs to be this way. So like I said, I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect because the more perfect I try to be, it's just like trying to be in control with peace. The more disappointed I'm going to become, the more upset I'm going to be, the more I'm going to resent things, and then I'm going to be living out of ego and the pain body versus through the conscience and through the spirit. So I got two more, and then I'll go ahead and hop off here like double dutch. You know what I mean? So this is one thing that I wrote, and it's really just two things. The first one is it's not really something I need to elaborate in, but peace is the delicate flower that needs extra love to cultivate. And I'll say it one more time too. Peace is the delicate flower that needs extra love to cultivate. It's very easy to stumble when it comes to finding peace, and the things that I listed before. It's like when you grow a plant like lavender. Lavender is my favorite scent, next to and lemongrass is second, but lavender and the color purple. So with lavender, that's one of those plants where you can't just leave it in the house and put it near the sun and stuff and then water it whenever you see fit. There are certain steps that have to be taken in order to cultivate that flower. You have to have the proper amount of sun. You can't have too much. And the same notebook that I'm reading stuff in, and I'll even show proof instead of just saying it, because oftentimes that's what's done. Where is it at? It's towards the front. Because in this, I just got like a whole bunch of random notes. Here it is. It says plants. So I just wrote down just about all the plants. I gotta add like 13 more. But it's front and back for the most part. And it has like a list of steps that I have to do for each plant. And when you have plants, that also cleans the air in your place. It cleans the air in your environment, but it also adds an essence of peace and also feng shui. It keeps your feng shui together. The in-house life balance. So you have to take preventative steps, extra steps. You have to be careful with certain things that you do, the type of energy that you put out there, because if you put negative energy out there, it's going to catch you off guard when it comes right back, and it's going to throw your peace off balance. So it's very imperative to, take care of your mind, your body, soul, and spirit, but and the intention of keeping peace or finding peace or expanding the peace that that you desire. And then let me go back to it because I lost it, but it was the last one. And then I'll go ahead and hop off here. I got some phone calls I gotta make and some interviews that I gotta set up. But here it is. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, but outside experiences often dictate peace. And I don't believe that that's how it should be. If something's going on in a place that you have nothing to do with, I understand it's natural to care about it, but for it to take away your internal peace, or if you know watching all these things on social media is going to affect your peace, you have to be mindful of when you're going to do that. Or you have to, if you're going to watch all these things or allow these things to influence how you feel, the same amount of time that you want to spend to let these things influence how you feel, it's also important to have some steps, some preventative measures, like I mentioned before, to help yourself get through that. So if I know watching this movie is about sorcery and exorcism and just evil spirits and stuff, and for some reason I just have to watch the movie, after that I'm going to make sure I'm listening to either jazz music or I'm going to do something to kind of cleanse myself. We give into our negative vices and our addictions, and then we shame ourselves, but we don't find the time or make the time to release ourselves from that same thing. So, I kind of went on for a little bit. I wanted to share my thoughts and kind of, what peace means to me. I kind of shortened it down, even though I probably went on for like 20, 30 minutes. But I didn't want to go too long and then expect all of y'all to watch this entire thing. Just whatever jewels you watch it, whatever jewels you're able to take away from it, or whatever energy you're able to take away. I appreciate the fact that you allowed and you opened up to listen to some of the things I had to say. Because at the end of the day, we're light and vessels. So, to allow me to be a light by listening to this, I really appreciate that. And, I want to do more of this because those who experience me or that I come around and stuff, they're able to know who I actually am. And this isn't stuff that I just put on social media or whatever. This is truly how I live my life. So to be able to share that with people, it means a lot because for me, like one of the things I said is in order to be free, you must surrender. And that takes a certain amount of vulnerability. So exercising my vulnerabilities and expanding that to where I'm able to reach more or be reached by more people, I feel that that's part of what social media is about, just connecting. I don't care about any of the other stuff really. I want to root for y'all and support y'all. And I know my ancestors support me and they guide me. So, peace to everybody. This is peace, not this. Peace is when you have fingers together because you're connected. This is a V for victory, and it's also divided. So whenever you see me do this, this is what I mean by peace. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Stay loved, stay light, stay hydrated, and I hope y'all have an amazing day. Peace.